As above, so below. What's up, guys? Welcome back to 31 Days of Horror 2025. I am Morgan Film Fan. Let's jump into some scares. As Above, So Below is a 2014 film, once again. This is directed by Erick Dowdle, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. I guarantee I'm not. I apologize if I am not. But this is from Scream Factory. We got the original poster right there and the brand new updated poster right there with the slip. And this is a first time watch for me. I've never seen As Above, So Below, but I do love my found footage films. And just a reminder for everybody who's new here, all my 31 Days of Horror watches are first time watches automatically. So join me. But anyways, what we have going on in this film is we have this woman named Scarlett, and Scarlett is purely your real life Lara Croft. British and everything. She loves to explore the world. She loves to dive into danger. She is not scared of much whatsoever. The film opens up with her crossing the border of Iran and saying that the punishment for trespassing in places in Iran is burial in the sand up to your head and then a rock drop onto your head. But clearly she's not afraid of that, so she just goes anyway. And I believe she's looking for something called a rose key there or something like that. It's basically the intro of the film. As the film begins from there, we're introduced to this guy named George. And George is a friend of hers. He is an American. She, I'm assuming, is British. She might not be, but she definitely has a British accent. It's said that she speaks 4 languages, one of them being French, and most of this film takes place in France, Paris specifically. George is a man who basically breaks into abandoned places that have been forgotten mostly, and fixes things up. So we're introduced to his character fixing a giant city clock that hasn't worked for, I think they said 264 years, and he makes it work again, and he says, here's the citizens listening to this clock for the first time in 264 years, which would be their first time, literally. I just found that really cool. I found that very interesting, and I found that a very great character development for George. She basically, Scarlett, asks George to be her translator, and George definitely knows that this woman loves the smell of danger and loves to chase it any way she can, so he's very skeptical of her automatically. It takes a lot to convince him just to do the translating, let alone go into the Paris catacombs, which she wants to do, because she's mainly looking for the Philosopher's Stone, but she also wants to discover what's down there because she knows of a section of the catacombs that are completely mapless. She goes to find this tour guide. His name is Papillon, and she convinces Papillon to take her down to the catacombs because he apparently is somebody who is very knowledgeable in the catacombs of Paris. Is the best that they got anyway. And I will say that this is a film that really makes me want to research the catacombs of Paris because they sound so interesting, and I don't know really anything about them. I have heard that they exist, but I haven't heard much past that. I don't know the history, the paranormal ritual, weird stuff that goes there, if it does, whether they're haunted. I don't know anything about the catacombs beyond there besides they're very tight and cave-like, and you get kind of like a descent atmosphere in this film. So the film plays off from there. Obviously, poor George is convinced to go with Scarlett because Scarlett just has a charm with the boys, I guess. He goes with her, and Papillon is carrying them through, and obviously things don't go well for our main characters, let's just put it that way, but that's kind of obvious and what is expected to be. Now, I really enjoyed this film. This film does have a little bit of a curse for being a little bit generic. It is pretty generic for what it is. It's one of those films where everything has been done before, you've seen it before. Now, it does those things very, very well. And it scares, the scares and the jump scares and the creepy moments and everything that is horrific in this film is done exceptionally well. But this film is absolutely not reinventing the wheel, and it is a very generic found footage film. That's not necessarily a bad thing. Some people, want their horror films to be that way. They know what they want to get into. They want a classic found footage film, and you're going to get a classic found footage film here. Using the example of the film Rec, for anybody who's seen the Spanish film Rec, I think Rec is a better film than As Above, So Below. Some people are going to disagree with me on that. However, with this watch, I did enjoy Rec more, but I did enjoy this one very much. I gave this film a 3.5 out of 5. And I had a really good time with it. Things definitely get very supernatural, very voodoo-like curses. There's this one moment, which is probably my favorite moment of the film, where you find these people that are dressed ritualistic-like in the catacombs. And one of the guys is like, you find some crazy people down here. You see these people and they're doing this chant opera, and it sounds beautiful. But you look at them and you just know demonic. Like, you just look at these people and the way their makeup is done and how they're positioned, and you're like, demonic, let's get the hell out of here. It should be their 376th warning to not go there and get the fuck out of Dodge. But of course, they keep going. And the red flags are enormously huge, the amount of them, to get the fuck out of Dodge. But nobody gets the fuck out of Dodge. It's a horror film after all. We gotta keep getting the fuck into Dodge. That's what we do with As Above, So Below. So the scares are great. You got all kinds. You get things in the background. You get, if you blink, you'll miss it. You'll get jump scares. You get a lot of the characters reminiscing, on their past, and you start wondering, a lot of people can raise the question, are they hallucinating all these things? I would say no, because, characters are actually disappearing, but at the same time, things could be explained by certain people and certain reviewers that these things could be absolutely hallucinatory. The caves look terrifying. I'm a claustrophobic person, so when they're going into really tight spaces and there's bones everywhere and there's just everything just seems evil. And they also come across really random objects. There's this one scene involving a piano, and one of the characters recognizes this piano to look exactly like one from his childhood. And then he starts playing a song, and he remembers that one of the keys from his childhood was broken. And he plays the same song, and the same key, lo and behold, was broken. And that's, probably his 684th red flag to get the fuck out of Dodge. It still doesn't. So, and it's funny because George is the one who wants to get out of there most, and clearly he can. I don't know if he just stays because of Scarlett, because he's in love with her. I don't know what his exact motive is to not get out of there, because before he goes in, he can easily, many times, just say, no, I'm not going. And so can Papillon, as a matter of fact. So the motives for the characters are kind of somewhat not existent for keeping going, but like I said, it's a horror film. We got to get these characters into peril somehow. It's a cool film. I like the themes that it goes into. I love the As Above, So Below ritualistic stuff. You get a lot of cultural things going on in the catacombs. You get Egyptian hieroglyphics. You get other things outside of France. And you get everybody speaking English for the most part. This is a 90 to 95% English film with about 5% French. And usually that bugs me when a film is taking place in a foreign country. I want to hear it in the foreign language because it would be obvious that they would be speaking that. However, when you get a main woman from Britain, I'm assuming, and a main man from the United States, and then a French man who obviously speaks English, he's a tour guide, and you get this woman who travels all over the world and speaks 4 languages, it's more understandable. It gives you a reason why everybody would be speaking English, which I can totally respect. This film makes sense why everybody would be speaking English. Where a film like The 33 with Antonio Banderas, which is about a bunch of miners who get stuck in a mine in Chile, and the whole thing is in Chile, but everybody's speaking English. It just bugs the shit out of me because that makes no sense. But that's day 3. That is As Above, So Below. Once again, directed, I'm going to try this name, John Erick Dowdle. And it is a fun, very horrific film with lots of creepy imagery and lots of spooky, quite demon-esque circumstances going on under the catacombs of Paris. Although you don't see too much of Paris, the catacombs are cool, and like I said, I want to research the catacombs and I want to study them now because of this film. So I thank this film very much. And I thank all of my audience for being here. Thank you for being with me with another 31 days of horror. I hope you are keeping this season spooky. I hope you are enjoying the chilly weather and the October atmosphere. And yeah, when Halloween does come around, I hope everybody has a great one. Stay tuned for plenty of more reviews. Sleep tight tonight.